Hello indie gaming fans, it's me, the ex-hardcore gamer, and today I'm going to give you some impressions on the early access game, Undying. Anybody hoping that this is going to be a remake or a remaster of the 2001 Clive Barker's Undying? Unfortunately, that is not the case. This is a totally brand new game and is more of a survival game with a horror theme. I wanted to be a little bit careful not to say survival horror because I didn't want people to think that this was like a Resident Evil or Silent Hill or anything like that. So what's the latest thing that the indie world is throwing at us that we need to survive now? Well, it's going to be a zombie bite. In Undying, you're going to be playing as Anling, who has her son Cody with her, and the two of them are trying to survive after she has already been bitten by a zombie. This is in fact an early access game, so the opening cinematic is still a work in progress, but you still get the basic idea of what has happened where you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, you have been bitten, and you're trying to survive while also looking for your missing husband. We're not getting into any new territory here, but it's a good setup for a premise to the game, and who knows what might happen later on, as I've only played about an hour and a half of the game itself. As for the gameplay, it's going to be from an isometric view, and you're going to do your standard survival game type things, exploring the world, finding items so that you can craft, cook, and come up with different weapons to defend yourself. You're going to do all this crafting from your base of operations, which is your character's home, which you do start in, but unfortunately everything is broken due to a bunch of the events that are going on in the game's world. So if you're saying to yourself now, well, yeah, I've played that a million times, why should I care about this one? Things start getting a bit unique when you start adding in all the gameplay elements that have to deal with the fact that you have your son Cody with you. Cody is just a young boy, so it only makes sense that he truly wouldn't know how to do anything to be able to survive in this world. So everything that you do in the game, from even the simplest things such as searching through the garbage to find an item, it gives you the option to press the spacebar where you can teach Cody how to do these things. After Cody has watched you do various activities a certain amount of times, he'll then be able to do them himself, and you can set him to do certain things so you're not having to do everything all alone. One thing I really liked about this is that it would actually move on from just the simple, just watch this one thing over and over again, to you actually having like a checklist of various things that you would have to do that were related. And if you did all of those things, it would actually level up like a different stat for him, and that would unlock more things for him to be able to do. All of this plays into the whole story aspect of Cody needs to learn how to do these things, because eventually you, the mother, will die, and she won't be there to be able to help him out. There is another mechanic to the game where if you become too tired, you actually start getting into this weird state where you're going to succumb to the zombie infection sooner. But that does lead to an actual death and you have to restart. But I don't know if maybe there's a point in the game where Cody has learned enough and he can move on his own. That I don't know, but what I do know for sure is that in the meantime, you have to do a lot of motherly things to keep him alive. You gotta make sure that you keep him fed, that he has water, maybe even heal any wounds if he gets hurt. But also you may have to hold his hand to make sure that he's going in the right way, calm him down if there are zombies nearby, or maybe put him into a safe space while you go fight. The graphics in Undying are something that I would describe as simple and yet detailed all at the same time. This is due to the fact that items and people that you will find throughout the game will have nice shading and different details on them, but also will have other things that will be just totally simple and not there, such as people's faces not having any eyes. This made for a very interesting and unique art style that I really enjoyed seeing, so that I really felt like I was playing something different and not just another game that played and looked like a million other ones out there. In the sound department, you're going to find that this is very similar to many other indie games out there where it's not fully voice acted. You're going to have voices in the opening cinematic, but after that you're going to be reading a lot of text with just some key sound bites here and there. While a lot of the game is definitely very much in an early state, the soundtrack itself is very fleshed out. Even in my short time playing, I was able to hear a variety of songs that change based on what's happening in the game or what area that you're exploring. Undying is a perfect example of what the early access program on Steam is and what it's for. It's a very early game that has a lot of things that need to be added to the game, fixed, and updated. But in the meantime, it's still a great fun game to play. Even better is there is a demo available so you can download for yourself and see if it's something that you'll enjoy and maybe even want to buy into right away. I very much look forward to seeing where they go with this, and hopefully people who buy into it will be able to use their input to help shape it to be an even better game. Oh yeah, and one last little quick note that definitely could be make it or break it for a lot of people right now. The game does not natively support controllers, it is mouse and keyboard only. Never mind the fact that the on-screen prompts will be all mouse and keyboard related, just certain button combinations that the game asks you to do may feel more comfortable with mouse and keyboard and be a bit cumbersome on a controller no matter which way you set it up. So if you're a controller-only gamer, you may want to hold off until they do an official update that supports controllers. So those are my early impressions on Undying, but before we go, I would like to take the time to thank our indie warriors. Mitchell Hall, Bunny, Kevilo, Bill T, Christian Cruz, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Peach, Adriana Amato, CJR, PSC, C Coyle, Skeptism, Jen Rose, Jesse, CPM, Julian Kolbus, JRS the 8th, Ray Lynn, and Marky Mint. I want to take the time to be able to thank you all for your support and everything you do for us here at I Dream of Indie. If anybody else would like to join them, all the information to become an indie warrior is in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and until next time, enjoy gaming.